So Tim Pool might be coming around and seeing that the patriarchy might not be as bad as he thought, but he's still getting a few things wrong.
If you're 40 years old and you've never ridden a board before, and you show up to a skate park, so anywhere, let's say, you're in DC, and you go up to any group, almost 100% likelihood, and said, I'm kind of an old guy, I've never skated before, but I want to learn. They're going to teach you. And when you finally and successfully pull off your first ollie, just a little jump, people will clap and cheer for you. Because clapping and cheering, it's not about being the best. Sometimes everyone's impressed, see good tricks, sure. But they know you tried your hardest and you overcame yourself. That's what it's all about. So if homie rolls up and he's good and he does a 360 kickflip, it's a good trick, right? Nobody cares. Nobody cheers, nobody claps because we know homie's got it. He's good. We're not trying to disrespect him. That's like, but when you see that dude land it for the first time after fighting every single day, we clap and cheer. Here's what I mean. If you spend your whole life as a degenerate, living in shame or squalor, maybe you're a porn star, wants to bang 1,000 guys. You come out later and say, I hate it. I should have never done it. Let me turn around. You get credit for doing the right thing. There are a lot of people that want to rag on. There's that woman who was like an OnlyFans model and she became a Christian. And then she gets attacked by people saying, no, don't take her in. No. Shame is for those who do bad. We cheer on good behavior. So with this story about this lady who's like, I banged 1,000 dudes, oh, look at me, or whatever. She's not Irish, I guess. She's British or something. It's like, okay, we shame that. We should. It's bad for you. It's bad for the guys. It's bad for society. It is bad health-wise all around. This woman cried. She banged 100 dudes, and in the video, she cried. And the camera guy apparently almost threw up when he smelled how disgusting this was. So here's what I say. If I see a dude, and he's morbidly obese, and he's shoveling down ho-hos and ding-dongs, I think there is a way to be rationally mean. I'm not saying to cause them harm. I'm saying we're going to shame it. We're going to say, dude, that's gross. Don't do it.
Shaming isn't quite the effective tool as it used to be, as now everybody's connected online and there's always a community for something. No one's locked down to the people just around them anymore. So if you're trying to shame these people now, it's far too late. Do you think Bonnie or Lily really care? It's all publicity for them and anybody else doing this type of stuff. A good example are those people that get caught having OnlyFans at whatever job and then get fired for it. And then they go on the world tour of every major news organization to get an article written about them. Same thing with the girls that go on whatever or Fresh and Fit. The whole chat and panel is roasting them. Yet by the end of it, they're walking away with a bigger bag. And you know why that is, Tim? Because you're shaming the wrong people. Women can only be as good or as bad as men let them. The real question you should be asking is why is there 1,000 men lined up for this? Because that's where the true problem lies. The only reason these things are happening are because of these men, and it's a worldwide problem. So you trying to employ this shame tactic now will be completely useless. The only time that's going to work is when they're kids. But now there's rarely dads around, and even if there is, they're either usually weak, stepdads that can't do anything, or have to walk around in eggshells. And for your other solution that we need to forgive and reward them for doing the correct behavior, which is all really good, but the examples you give don't really apply, as Bonnie here gets to keep all the positive aspects from it, namely the money. Same thing with Nala or Lily. They want us to feel bad or praise them for their redemption journey, all while they keep that money, the reason why they did it in the first place, which really adds a disingenuous layer to it. It's like letting a thief come to you, apologize for what they did, but then let them keep everything they stole. So no, Tim, shame and praise isn't the answer. It's far too late for that, especially this generation. They don't care. The problem I think Tim is having is he doesn't understand that attention is a currency now. It's not just strictly about the dollar anymore. That's why we really shouldn't just outright believe these people, because they don't do something selfless with the money, like give it away or donate it, but instead either throw it on a different costume and then monetize that, or cry about the thing they did and then double dip in that attention well while everybody's still talking about it. I think the solution is let them live out that consequence. Keep them out of your communities and just let them be. And I'm not saying you don't have to forgive them, but you don't give them a pass either. That's why they think they can do this and everything will be okay later, because we got people like Tim ready to forgive, forget, and praise. People need to see that there's real consequences for what they do. And Tim joked maybe we should bring the patriarchy back, but we got way too many weak people running around to make any semblance of whatever that used to look like ever come back.
People are going to hate me for saying this, but just listen, okay? Just listen. Giving away all the money that you made doing sinful acts does not make you a Christian. I have so many people in my comments just telling me that they'll only believe me that I'm a Christian if I gave away all the sinful money I made doing porn. See, from what I know is from Romans 10:9, the Bible, it says that if you declare with your mouth and you believe in your heart that Jesus Christ died on the cross for your sins, then you will be saved. That is all it requires to become a Christian and to turn from your ways and to repent from them. That had to have a real transformation. Am I still doing that? No. I am not still doing porn. I am not selling myself on the internet. I deleted every single thing that could be even potentially explicit content off of all my social medias, dude. Off of every single platform I own. I even deleted my entire Twitter. I don't have Twitter anymore. But Nala, you're not a Christian if you have colored hair. No, no. You're not a Christian if you wear makeup. You're not a Christian if you have false eyelashes. You're not a Christian if blah, 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 blah. No, it has nothing to do with your standards on my walk with God. It has everything to do with my standards with walking with God. So when you're done judging, when you're finished, when you can get to this point of peace where you're like, oh, maybe it doesn't involve selling all your belongings, wearing different makeup, coloring your hair a different color, going natural completely. That has nothing to do with being a Christian. Literally nothing to do with being a Christian. So I don't understand it. Why there's still people out there hating on me for turning to Christ, but then also being like, did you give away all your money? No. I didn't have money to come back with because I owed so much in taxes, but well, that's another story. But anyway, stop. It's so annoying, and it shows your true character. If you're saying you're a Christian and then you're judging me for having some form of money after I did porn, like I'd made money doing porn. So it's like, listen, if you work a 9-to-5 job and your boss hands you a check for what you made that week or that bi-weekly check, do you turn around and then hand them the check back and they're like, oh, here's my money back?
What all these fake born-again Christians, especially the ones that used to do adult entertainment, always seem to think they can just do the bare minimum, and by doing the rituals, wearing a button-up shirt with a cross should be more than enough for everybody to forget what she did, and there definitely isn't some sort of ulterior motive. And this girl isn't anything special, as there's a lot of people that think the exact same thing. They can just put on the costume and all is forgiven. If you really want people to believe you, they need to see action. That's why they tell you to donate your money. It would at least somewhat prove that this isn't just a grift. We may be called to forgive, but we're not called to forget. So you coming on here with your condescending attitude really only further shows the people that don't believe you that you're not really about it. And then once again, this is just another grift that you're doing. And you even follow the same arc that most of these people do, going from OF Slore to born-again Christian to trad wife making chocolate chip cookies. It seems to be the timeless arc that all of you seem to follow. And if you want people to believe you, the burden's on you, not on Jesus or God, you. These aren't just haters, but I'm sure there's some in there, but people who think once again their religion is being co-opted by people so they can get their forgiveness card. It's like I said, people can forgive you, but that doesn't mean that forgiveness has to be blind. And maybe if you didn't make a career out of lying and being this fake persona, people would believe you. And when I really step back and think about it, it's just another woman not wanting to hold any accountability. She wants to pass it off to Sky Daddy while trying to maintain the benefits to both these lives, and then wonders why no one believes her. And why should they? You haven't given anyone any reason to. So to all those women doing this,
So you need to be adding to my very happy 95% in order to enter into this world. Like, I'm not at 25. I don't need you, you know?
here's what your competition looks like.
This is Aria. So this is our flagship humanoid AI-powered robot. She's highly realistic. She has her own social media, so she might be competing with you one day. What makes her really special is that you can talk to her and ask questions. So maybe we can have her introduce herself and say something.
Hello. I'm Aria, the flagship female companion robot of Realbotics.
What's the purpose of this?
Some of our peers in the robotic space make robots to replace human labor. We think that's a great area, but we think there's a much bigger area in having social robots. So for example, at a convention like this, we can draw a crowd very easily. Aria's been a little bit of a rock star here with people taking pictures and coming over. So she can promote your brand. The AI is all customizable, so she can learn all about you and your brand, and she can continue to communicate to people. There's a huge epidemic amongst adolescents and seniors on loneliness. So she can be programmed to know you and learn more about you. So she can make that bond with you that feels like a genuine human connection.
They're going to be in the houses?
We don't have the ability to clean the house. They don't do physical labor, but they're more there to converse with you. It's companionship. They can actually even be a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So we have built that into our AI as well.
We are now at the intersection point from what you're offering and demanding to what your competition can now do. And even though it's still a bit uncanny, that right there is still more than enough for most guys, especially when they're only offering what you are, but at a fraction of a cost. And we can all read in between the lines on what this guy's actually saying, on what these robots can do without him just outright saying it. And while these ladies are just becoming more of a headache with ever increasing demands, your competition is just getting cheaper and better by the day. And before any arguments of, well, they can't cook, clean, or have kids, well, you're not doing that either. So tell me, where really is the difference? You think because there isn't this all-in-one machine that our Boku no Sumo wa Kenjo Janai future is still out of reach, when in reality, it's already here. It's just in different machines, through dishwashers, Rumbas, laundry machines. All the jobs that you used to do have been replaced by robots, and the only one you got left, having kids, you don't want to do. So why wouldn't guys pick this? This reminds me of that article that came out a little while ago about how everybody in 2025 will be doing robots. And maybe the year is off by a little bit, but I think it's much closer than people want to believe, and probably be heavily adopted by Gen Z and Alpha. That's why I think a lot of people have a hard time believing it, because those aren't the people that will be using it. It's just some weird foreign concept to them.
What's your body count? Can I take a guess?
Can you take a guess? Okay.
How old are you?
52.
You're old.
Yeah.
You've had 3 marriages.
And basically, like, after 25, you're basically dead down there. So what are you gonna do?
25?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
No. Okay, I'm gonna say like 10.
I've been married 3 times. That means I've slept with 3 women by now.
Yeah, so 3. And then those post-divorce actions, so like 10.
No. Jesus says not to sleep with people unless you're married to them, so only 3.
So ignoring the weirdness of a daughter asking her dad his body count, it really highlights the differences in the views of how these 2 generations view sex. And when I'm talking about these generations, I'm really just referring to the women, because these type of women live in a different world compared to everybody else. They think most people have a body count of 10 plus, when in reality they're more like this guy, if they're lucky. Not only was there a religious aspect like this guy said, but women weren't as promiscuous back then either, and hardly any of them were making a living selling pictures of themselves like this girl. They can't think in the abstract, so their worldview and experiences must be everybody's, when they're really not, when most guys are still virgins in their late 20s, and this post-divorce / breakup where you get ran through is mostly a woman thing, as most guys have to put far more effort in to get laid than women do, especially after a breakup where their finances have definitely changed, usually for the worse, and will have to get in better shape, as people usually let go of themselves a bit in relationships. But this clip did a great job of showing how these 2 generations viewed sex and body count. But what I really found interesting is what this guy said, that after 25 you're basically dead down there, which I really have to strongly disagree. Unless you have some medical issue like low testosterone or something else that's inhibiting your libido, I think it says more about your marriages, and maybe marriages of that time, than anything else. I think it might be more to the case that these guys took what they can get, and they weren't getting the top shelf women, or once the women felt secure, they let go of themselves and shut off the sex tap. And even though this is all heavy speculation, but with 3 failed marriages and you saying your dick doesn't work after 25, it's either you got medical issues, or you married women that you weren't attracted to, or clammed up as soon as you got married. Because if you put this girl in front of any guy at any age, they'll have no problem. It's kind of why I think ED is not nearly as prevalent as commercials make it appear like it is. I think it's mostly due to guys just losing attraction for whatever reason, or them being cut off and nothing they can do about it without losing everything. So this is their body's coping mechanism. But like I said, it's all heavy speculation, but maybe I'm onto something, as guys of that era needed to eat blue pills like their Tic Tacs.
That's a really good way of putting it, because that's exactly like how he would like feel towards me. Like
But
he would
you-
say like, I love you so much, like, but I just really wish you didn't do
That
this.
is-
Like
that's
I
not how it
really
went at
wish
all.
you didn't. Like,
Okay.
why did you have to do
You
that?
want to go here because
Wait,
No, let's not go here. No.
No, I want to say one thing.
No.
I want to say one thing. You almost had more issues with my past where you would bring it up publicly to everywhere we go, to everyone, and put it in my face and make me feel like where everything I did was behind the scenes, and it wasn't even like that. It wasn't that big of a deal. And
What does that mean? It wasn't even like that.
Like, I
was
wasn't-
mine
I
like
wouldn't
that?
I wouldn't bring it up all the time. Be like, I love you, but this. It wasn't like that at all.
That's what it felt like.
You would go at me. You would go late at night and be like, you would come at everything about my past with girls or whatever, like blah 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 blah. And until recently, you didn't even know that any girl I've ever done with on camera or done anything with on camera, I never even hooked up with. Like, it's not. I think you assumed a lot of things, and it doesn't even matter.
This is the textbook definition of gaslighting, where we have a woman believing that things were said in a conversation, and according to the guy, they clearly weren't. And for all these women who say they have no shame about their past and what they do, there's more than one way for it to come out, and this is one of them. You start accusing your significant other of things they didn't do, women they might have hooked up with, or them having problems with the things you did in your past. This is just you projecting your own insecurities, and then gaslighting it into a fight. Like I said, there's more than one way to feel shame, and now you're going to go around sabotaging your relationships, projecting onto them that they have a problem with your past and what you do, and they're going around doing everybody around them, when in reality, no, that's you. And even though you may go around saying all the women mantras and sex work is real work, this type of behavior really shows that you do have some shame about it. So now you're projecting all this stuff onto him with this get him before he gets me attitude. But it's a good lesson for all of us. If a woman's gaslighting you with conversations that didn't go the way she said, or she's putting words in your mouth, it means she's probably insecure about something she did and has major shame about it. And even though they made videos kicking and screaming that they had no shame about it and their past shouldn't matter, this sort of stuff shows that you do, and it does.
The divorce curve, let's say, looks like a ski jump, right? If you get married super young, you're quite likely to get divorced. And then as you get older, right, as you get into your late 20s, this is age over the x-axis, as you get into your late 20s, you're less likely to get divorced. And then once you reach 30, you kind of bottom out. And then after that, we see an uptick where as you get into your late 30s, you become more likely to get divorced again. Now, not as likely as you would have been if you got married at like 21, but certainly more likely to get divorced than if you got married at 30. Now, most people aren't very confused by the idea that young marriages often fail, right? Your brain isn't fully developed yet, and so obviously you're going to make some bad decisions, and who you marry could absolutely be one of them. But why there's a divorce uptick in your late 30s doesn't make sense to a lot of people, right? Like, surely those people are even more mature. And the explanation I like is Professor Nicholas Wolfinger's. He argues that by the time you reach your late 30s, the best marriage candidates have been taken off the market. It's kind of like showing up late to the movie theater. There are just less good seats available, and so if you show up late, you're more likely to leave early.
What this libtard gets wrong about why these divorce spikes happen in their early 20s and late 30s isn't really due to maturity or their brain hasn't developed, but is really due to FOMO, fear of missing out. That's why these two specific age groups have higher divorce rates compared to mid-20s and early 30s. The FOMO these two age groups are experiencing are slightly different, but really are two sides of the same coin. In their early 20s, they'll feel opportunity cost. They'll feel like they cashed their chips in too early, seeing their friends go out while they're stuck at home, while the late 30s group will have sunken cost. They'll see years of their friends doing whatever while they had to take care of a family. So these late 20 crowd divorces so they can go join in on what they feel like they're missing, while the late 30s crowd divorces so they can catch up on it. That's why there's these spikes. The reason why there's a plateau in the middle, because these women either got kids, so she settled for the sucker that got her impregnated, or she got with the good guy that she felt she wanted after years of being ran through. So it's not maturity or that stupid anecdote you gave. It's not even that complex. They either just want to quote unquote go have their fun, or go back and relive it. And if it was really about maturity, then why is gray divorce a thing? Because I'm pretty sure everybody should be pretty mature and brains fully developed at 65. Yet we're seeing divorces spike at that range too. And you can guess why. The same reason too, FOMO. Grandma wants to go to Barbados and meet some island boys. And this is exactly why guys just don't want to get married, because all this stuff happens at the worst ages for guys, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Have you ever seen that Twitter meme that's like unshackling? I want to unshackle myself from the societal pressure of marriage, period.
You don't have to marry, Pokey. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to.
Okay, but imagine growing up your whole life being like marriage, 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 marriage. You know?
Yeah, I get that.
And also, I feel like especially as women, like it's kind of ingrained in us, our value... I don't agree. But a lot of people will tell you your value is in making a baby and, you know, managing a home and whatever the hell. But
guess
the thing
my value
is...
zero. I guess my value is zero.
You know, but the thing is, like, our lives are actually fucking dope. And I hate that I have these annoying thoughts every now and then. I'm like, what a waste of my goddamn time. I actually love my life. And I don't think... Like, those thoughts and those pressures sometimes make me feel wrong for not being married or for not having kids at this age. But I don't think that that's a wrong thing whatsoever.
The sentiment that these women are saying is shared by a lot of women, and on a surface level, they aren't wrong, because why would they want to have kids? They have all their needs met, and got a box in their hands that can give them unlimited attention. So by all means, their lives are great. And even though these two really aren't the average women, they all still fall in some sort of range near this, where their lives are still good enough to not need or want to have kids. And that's really the crux of the issue. Women don't really need them, or if that maternal instinct is really strong, they can get a dog at a fraction of the cost. I believe most women had kids out of necessity. There wasn't all these comfy DEI jobs that paid well or well enough for most of human history, and the majority of jobs women just couldn't do as well as men for a variety of reasons. So them having kids was a payment they needed to pay for men to share their resources with them and to get that attention fix. It's not like they actually wanted them, but they had no choice. And with the predicament we're in with the falling birth rates and women being out of control slurs, now that they can have quote unquote perfect lives, it kind of shows I may be right about this, especially when you see the differences when a man and a woman get rich. Men usually start or improve their family, while women tend to abandon and become a slur. And I think it's all due to why we have kids in the first place. Men do it out of purpose and love. Having kids gives them more of a purpose to what they're doing other than just surviving, and some actual genuine love because because these kids think you're the world, where everybody else usually wants something, while women usually do it to get access to something like money, attention, or security. So what these ladies are saying, from their perspective, is correct, and these old societal pressures that women need to have kids, or a woman's only value comes from having kids, is archaic and out of date, but they give no thought on why that is. We all live in such an easy time that having kids now is considered a damper and annoyance on your life, where for most of our time, you having kids was a necessity, otherwise we all die. It wasn't thought up in some patriarch cabal, it was literally the only thing you could do, and women were happy to do it. It was the easiest job at the time, where women had all their needs met, and now that the easy dial's been turned up to 11, they don't need to, and the only reason for them to reproduce now is that biological urge, which they'll drown out with external sources like drugs, alcohol, attention, and a rotation of men bigger than an NFL team. And until life gets way worse, where they actually need men to come and save them, because most of them can't do anything if all this goes away. They'll just continue to be like this. And why wouldn't they? They got lives that kings would dream of. They can travel wherever they want. They got food and men on dial. So to them, everything's perfect. And adding a kid would only be a hindrance. So until things get much worse, like a Great Depression, everything will remain the status quo. And because the initial reasons on why they had kids aren't there anymore, they don't think they need them. But the sad thing that these women don't see is that even though the initial reasons are gone, the later reasons aren't. Like people being there for them when everybody else died or is gone, or all that attention dried up because they're past 40. And even though they see this with other women, just like men, they assume that won't happen to them because they somehow can do it different or better. So if we want things to get better in that sense, we need things to get much worse, so women will bring kids back to the table. That or hope artificial wombs are right around the corner.
So I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but women can be literally anything they want. And feminists are so proud online saying that feminism is about the right to choose and female empowerment and this and that, right? Okay, so all that fighting for equal rights, all of that, and you guys still choose prostitution. You guys still choose modern day prostitution. It's so crazy to me because if you went to a hooker on the corner and you asked her if she wanted to be in that life, she would tell you she does not want to be in that life. She would do anything to get out of that life. But you guys are sitting here and you're choosing to be prostitutes. And don't come at me with the whole, oh, you don't know, we need the money, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. No, you're making less than $200 a month on OF. Could easily make more money at McDonald's, but you find that degrading. Most of you wouldn't work at McDonald's because you find that degrading. You're doing it for the attention, not for the money. Let's be real. And I don't support the men that subscribe to you guys, but what's funny is that if those men told you guys, hey, like instead of nudes and videos, why don't you cook? Why don't you clean? These women would be like, oh my God, that's so degrading. I would actually find it so funny if those men told those women to cook and clean for them rather than sexual content, because those women would be like, no, absolutely not. That's degrading. But selling your body isn't degrading. Interesting. Those same women wouldn't be maids because they find that beneath them. They don't want to cook for their boyfriends because they find that degrading. They find that beneath them. But being a modern day prostitute online to random men is not beneath you? I don't understand.
So there's a few things that this woman gets right and wrong. For starters, if you ask these women on the corner whether they can choose to be in this life or not, most of them would still say yes, because it's the most amount of money they'll get for the least amount of work. This option to shop has always been available, yet they're still doing it. And why that is because it's a lot of money for easy work. And even if they stick to online only, it's still extra money for stuff they were going to do anyways. What she does get right, yes, they're all doing it for attention and hoping to be the next Sophie Rain. But the main thing that this woman doesn't understand is that women love being degraded, as long as they're the ones doing it and profiting from it. Why do you think they love OF? Because it cuts out a lot of the middlemen. They just don't want to feel like they're reporting to one single man. That's not part of some company structure. That's why they're fine going to Subway, making sandwiches, or Starbucks and making coffee. But if her husband asks, that crosses the line. And I ain't no slave. And the whole ironic thing is, what do you think you are at these companies? My point is, they're fine being degraded, as long as they're the ones doing it. And that's not just with sex work, but with everything. And that's partly why we saw an influx of all these women who claim to be trad, but are doing TikToks wearing form-fitting clothing, where we can see everything shake and jiggle as they're making pies. But you know what we didn't see in all these videos? A husband or kids, because there isn't any. They just monetize another thing that they found degrading. So no, lady, you're wrong. They're fine with it. They have all the choices in the world, yet they go back to the few things they've always done. They just wanted to remove the guy that they felt that was profiting off their free labor.
How old are you?
27.
28. And how long have you been married?
About 2.5 years.
Yep. But we've been together for about 5 years.
How do you handle the bills in your household?
So currently I handle all the bills, but she's on her way to be a doctor, so eventually she'll either take over all of them or like most of them. But she also had a job So we were splitting it the same proportion we were making in income. So if I was making 60-40 or vice versa, that's what we were contributing to our bills as well.
What makes you think as a man that she would be comfortable as a doctor paying for everything as a woman?
She is such a motivated person, and that's the way I view it. She has a vision for her own life, and I'm supporting that right now. I view it as very empowering to her and to us as a couple that she wants to pursue this career path, and I'll do anything I can to protect that and encourage that and whatnot, because it'll pay off in the long term.
So you would be fine covering all the bills long term as well?
Honestly, yeah. Like right now, he's investing in my future, so I'm hoping that I can invest in our future in the future.
Even though what this couple says sounds good, the problem is it rarely happens. I've covered numerous stories where the guy's covering all the finances and paying for her school, and the second she's done or gets that big promotion, she's out the door, because she could say all these nice words on how great it is he's covering while she's doing school, and in the future she'll take over. But the problem is that doesn't happen because they don't actually want it to. What they want is for you to pay for the majority of things always, while they get to keep their money. And unless you're in some sugar mama arrangement, if she's using this language, it probably means you're not that guy, and she already has one foot out the door. You can only fool biology for so long. They have it baked in their lizard brain that I need guy with resources, and if this guy is making me use my own, then he isn't suitable. That's why there's a saying, his money is our money, and my money is my money. Because it's not like women never had stuff, but because it's hard-coded in our brain, women will always lose attraction to a guy that she has to support long-term, because he isn't supposed to be the drain, she is. That's why relationships like this almost never work, because she'll lose attraction, cheat on him with her boss, and it's just the way it is. It's hardwired. Same thing with guys attracted to 20-some-year-old girls and not 40. It's how our species evolved and survived, and you can't just simply do away with it just because we're not surviving day by day anymore. It's like our body with food and calories. It doesn't know that we have a fridge full of food that we can get at any time, and we don't have to engorge ourselves at every meal, like it's going to be the last one for a long time. But that's how we evolved to survive and not starve to death. And as much as we want to try and fabricate and break biology, it's been proven time and time again that we can't, and it hardly ever works. And that's why we see abundance of fat people, and the constant question of who should pay on the first date.
How old are you?
34.
At 34, have you ever been married before?
I have.
And how long was your marriage?
8 years.
Now, why throw it away after investing so much time?
Because at one point you realize that it's time to let it go. Because you have only one life, and you have to respect somebody else's also decisions.
What made you realize that it had to end?
It's not always one thing. It's not like, oh, you know, you stubbed your foot a certain type of way, now I automatically don't like you. It's a certain things that accumulate over time.
How did you feel in the beginning of your marriage as opposed to the end of it?
I feel like I changed, he changed, we both grew so much, and we both respect each other so much at the end of the relationship and the beginning of a relationship.
So there wasn't animosity or cheating or arguments and toxicity?
Nothing.
It was a perfect marriage.
It was a perfect marriage to the end. And it was such a great, like even the breakup was so great, honestly.
So in your position, would you ever get married again?
100% absolutely.
This is the exact type of stuff on why guys don't get married, and really just avoiding relationships entirely. Because we have a woman here saying her marriage was perfect, yet she still broke it off. And we all know obviously it wasn't. But if you can't even really name anything, then I guess it wasn't all too bad. So to all those Matt Walshes of the world that just say you need to pick better, well, from the sounds of it, this is as best as it's gonna get, and it's still not good enough to keep her around. And the best answers you're gonna get on why it didn't work are contradictory statements and ambiguous terms like we grow apart. So it's no wonder that guys aren't doing this anymore. The risks are far too high for absolutely no reward. And I think the worst part of this whole thing is these women gaslight themselves thinking that there's something out there for them. Like, ma'am, you're 34, but you look 54. No one wants that other than horny dudes just looking for a hole. And you delude yourself into thinking that this is the same genuine relationship you just gave up, when it's usually just lust at best. But I think the grand delusion, particularly to this woman, is that she said she'd get married again. Why would you get married again? You had the perfect marriage and it still wasn't good enough. Who would marry that after hearing, well, he did everything right and I still left? Like, what do you think that says about you? This would be the same woman saying in a few years how she misses having a family. And unfortunately for us, the human lifespan isn't really conducive to start a family at 50. She is right about one thing though, that you only have one life. So if you want to throw it away to be street meat, that's fine. But just don't come crying back.